Welcome to the Dealmaking with Laura DiFrancesco podcast. I'm Laura DiFrancesco, your host. We're talking all about mergers and acquisitions, buying and selling small businesses, as well as corporate law. We are taking our experience closing over $10 billion of transactions since founding Dean Street Law 5 years ago, and my experience being an M&A and corporate attorney for over a decade and making it accessible to you as an entrepreneur. I hope that this helps you in navigating the complex world of mergers and acquisitions. And also, we're always happy to be a resource for you here at Dean Street Law. You can always apply to work with us through our complimentary consultations linked in our show notes. And a huge shout out and thank you to everyone who's subscribed and left us a 5-star review. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe and also leave us a 5-star review. It's one of the best ways to support us as a small business. And also be sure to share with your friends and colleagues on social media, through text, email, or however is easiest. It means the world to us that you're supporting our content and helps us make more to support you in your journey. Welcome back to another podcast episode on the Dealmaking with Laura DiFrancesco podcast. Today, I am so excited to share with you more about Dean Street Law. Specifically, what's it like to work with Dean Street Law? How are we different from other M&A law firms? And what can you expect when working with Dean Street Law? I'm super excited about this because it's been a really fun journey of mine creating Dean Street Law. I'm Laura DiFrancesco, founder of Dean Street Law. I also have a number of other businesses, and I'm the author of Entrepreneurship Through Acquisition, a legal guide to buying a small business. We founded Dean Street Law in 2019, and before starting Dean Street Law, I worked in big law for over 7 or 8 years. And it's been a really interesting time being able to not only start my own law firm, but really shape it from the inside out of who I want to be as an entrepreneur, as an attorney, as a leader. So not only have we made Dean Street Law what it is today with respect to how we have our team members and how we take care of their career pathway and learning trajectory. But in addition to that, we've really innovated working with clients. And that means the world to me because I've looked at the legal field and I just feel like it's archaic and you have so many people in big law when you have, I would say, 30% or 40% are partners of the law firm. And that may be high. It just depends on which law firm it is. But there generally is a really high percentage of partner to overall team members. And so it becomes really hard to innovate. They become stuck in their ways because not only do they have to keep up with the times, but then they also have to get that same approval from so many people who may be really late stage in their career and not actively actually practicing law. So you find that innovation in law firms is rare. And what I did when starting Dean Street Law was I wanted to start from the beginning and think fresh of, if I could do anything in the world, who would I want to be for my clients? What technology would I want to use? How would I want to deliver my services? We still have the same standard of excellence that I was brought up on in big law. That's really important to me. But with that said, we're a lot more nimble. We're a lot more quick. And I think our customer service is wildly better than anything I saw in big law. And so when I was building Dean Street Law, I thought, how can we do this better, faster, a better quality? Overall, how can we make the experience of working with clients, working with our team members better for everybody? Because when you're starting from scratch, you get to create the world that you want to exist. You get to have ideas and put it into action and make it a reality. So at Dean Street Law, we specialize in mergers and acquisitions. That's really important because mergers and acquisitions is so different than every area of law, and yet it is the creme de la creme. It is the highest level of aptitude, in my opinion, from any aspect of corporate law, because not only in order to be a good M&A attorney, do you have to know mergers and acquisitions, but you also have to know corporate governance, intellectual property, HR, compliance, finance, real estate. In order for you to be a good M&A attorney, you have to be the best of the best in every one of those facets. And I will be honest, it is so fun running circles around people, both in terms of just being a really excellent lawyer and knowing I'm representing my clients well, to having that level of excellence in my career. You know, if you're not familiar with my story, I started taking college classes in high school. In undergraduate, I triple majored in international business, finance, and real estate in 3 years. Then I went on to get my JD and MBA in 3 years as well. Then I went on to big law and got to the point that I was basically a partner running my own law firm within the law firm by the time I was like a 4th and 5th year associate. So for me, it's always been so fun to be at the edge of my skill and to sharpen my edges and always be the best version of myself. Like, I'm not competitive in the sense that I want to be better than you. I'm competitive in the sense that I will do everything in my power to be the best version of myself. And what that becomes is Dean Street Law will do everything in their power to be the best version of our law firm. And that's really important to me in everything that we do across Dean Street Law and my other companies as well. So when I'm saying we specialize in mergers and acquisitions, know that we are not only exceptional mergers and acquisitions attorney, but because to be a great mergers and acquisitions attorney, you have to be an incredible corporate attorney, corporate governance attorney, finance attorney, etc. We've sharpened our edges in all of those. And then in addition to that, I shared, our process of starting Dean Street Law, but it's not something I expected. I did not expect to start a law firm. I was asked by one of our former clients to start a law firm. They had a boardroom of people and in-house counsel, and they said, we need you to negotiate multi-million and multi-billion-dollar contracts. Will you start a law firm? And so I did. And when I started Dean Street Law, I then fell in love with it because I found that I could do it differently than others. And that was what made me so happy. And then I decided to specialize in entrepreneurship through acquisition, specifically because as an entrepreneur myself, I went into law to be an entrepreneur. I went into law to start my own business, not knowing that that would include a law firm, but it does, in addition to my other portfolio of companies. And so I have that entrepreneurial mindset, and I love meeting other people with entrepreneurial mindsets. So that's why I love working with entrepreneurs selling their business and entrepreneurs buying a business. It just makes my heart so happy. And I love working on everybody's hardest issues. It's really, really fun. We have closed over $10 billion of transactions here at Dean Street Law. That may absolutely astonish you. I will say we have some Fortune 500 clients that it is attributed to. They like to rack up those numbers quite quickly. With that said, we have deep, deep experience in mergers and acquisitions, corporate law generally, and aim to provide the best service to our customers that we possibly can. When it comes to navigating corporate law, entrepreneurship, and managing small businesses, experience matters. Dean Street Law is a boutique corporate firm specializing in mergers and acquisitions and additional focus in real estate, commercial transactions, finance, and corporate governance. With over $10 billion in deals closed, Dean Street Law has extensive experience representing hundreds of clients in thousands of transactions, from small businesses to Fortune 500 companies. Whether you need startup guidance or advice on closing multi-million or multi-billion-dollar deals, we're your trusted partner every step of the way. Visit deanstreetlaw.com in the show notes to schedule a complimentary consultation. So what's the general process of working with Dean Street Law? First, we're going to have a consultation call. We need to know, what do you need? It's a complimentary consultation call, about 20 minutes. You can schedule it through the link in our bio, the link in our show notes. And in that, I'm going to be asking you a lot of different questions to understand the scope of work that you need. Are we a good fit for you? Are you a good fit for us? And really understand, not only are we aligned, but also how can we help you? And that's going to be so nuanced. And a lot of people who have experience with attorneys are really surprised at the depth of conversation that we have on a consultation call, because some people have said that they have learned more from a consultation call with us than they did spending $100,000 working with big law, because no one talked about the strategy. No one talked about how we're going to adjust things for you and your target company, or you and selling your business. So when we are going through that consultation call process, I want to know about the target business you're buying, about the company that you're selling, about all the different facets of the deal terms, because I want to know, what do we need to do in that scope of work so that I can communicate that to you so that you know what to expect. In addition, we do have a flat fee service model. We will do hourly with a retainer if requested, but 99% of the time people want to work on a flat fee because they want to know what to expect with fees. In order for us to prepare an accurate scope of work and accurate fees, we need to ask questions. That's a really important part of our process. And sometimes we even need to take a look at documents if there's documents in flux or in progress that we need to take a look at. And then based on that, all the information we've gathered, we're going to put together a custom proposal for you with outlining the scope of work, the payments, if there's a payment plan associated with it, what it might be. And we're going to go through the entire process from the beginning to the end of buying or selling a business with you. That is what we do day in and day out. Do we do other things? Yes. When we have a client who's bought a business and says, hey, we want to redo some contracts, can we do that? Yes. When we have a client who's fundraising, are we doing that component of the deal as well? Yes. When we have a client who's buying or selling a business and wants to set up multiple holding companies for their organizational structure, or they need to restructure their business prior to closing due to either the deal terms or their own tax consequences of the deal, we are always working on all of those different components as well as the tax consequences, both on the buy side and sell side. So do we work on other things for our clients? Yes. Have we worked on a standalone real estate acquisition? Yes. We do those components as well, because in order to be the best M&A attorney, you also have to be the best real estate attorney, contracts attorney, corporate governance attorney that you can be. With that said, throughout that scope of work and process, we are going to put that together for you, and then we're going to make sure that you have a full understanding of what the exact cost is going to be and the payment structure. So you might ask, if you're on the buy side, what happens, or on the sell side, what happens if the deal falls through? If the deal falls through, you are only responsible for the payments made up to that time that we're working, and it's all laid out in your scope of work. So we have payments via milestones or a pay in full. And when it's payments via milestones, let's say you make a payment before starting and a payment before due diligence. If before you would like us to start working on anything else, you've made those payments and we don't work on anything else, you don't owe anything else. So it mitigates risk. And because we focus on M&A, and that is what we do day in and day out, we really try to work and front load risk mitigation strategies for you. So if you're on the buy side, we're going to be looking through material deal terms list. What have you negotiated? What haven't you negotiated? Closing checklist and timeline. So both parties are on the same timeline on when you will be expecting to close, and also relatedly, what you'll need to do to get to closing. And by getting those harder conversations discussed up front, you're able to mitigate the risk of the deal falling through. Same thing for seller side. We want you to get started on due diligence preparation as soon as possible. And we, as M&A attorneys, knowing what happens next in the process, are always working proactively to make sure that you are able to close successfully, and that we do everything in our power. We can't guarantee it, but we want to do everything in our power to help you get to your future aims. So after the consultation call and the proposal, you'll make your first payment and sign the engagement letter as well as proposal, and we will get started working right away on your project. We are very clear on timelines, expectations, communication strategies, working proactively. And in addition to that, we have a lot of different resources for our communities. Whether you're buying a business or selling a business, we have this podcast, blog posts. We're active on Search Funder as well as Twitter, LinkedIn, and a number of other platforms. It's really important for me to share what I know. I became a lawyer to be an entrepreneur because access to information is not easily accessible. Now it is more than it ever was. But with that said, you still need an advisor in your corner. AI is not sufficient. You legally should not do your own deal. Don't try to DIY it. It's way too important. There's way too much money at stake. You want to do it right, do it the first time. It will cost you so much more to try to fix any issues than it would be to have done it right from the beginning. So I hope this has been a great introduction to Dean Street Law. If you would like to schedule a consultation call, the link will be in our bio, and I'd love to hear from you. Love to know how we can support you, and happy to chat through that. You can also connect with us on social media. All of our connections on LinkedIn, Search Funder, X, Twitter, anything are all linked in the show notes as well. And I'd love for you to check out my upcoming book, Entrepreneurship Through Acquisition, a legal guide to buying a small business. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Dealmaking with Laura DiFrancesco podcast. I hope you found today's discussion insightful and that it brought you one step closer to mastering the art of mergers and acquisitions. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to follow and subscribe to Dealmaking with Laura DiFrancesco on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. And if you found value in our discussion, please leave a 5-star review. It would mean the world to us, and share this podcast with your network, friends, and colleagues. For more in-depth resources, be sure to visit our website, deanstreetlaw.com, where you can find articles, guides, and more information on our services. Don't forget to follow us on social media for the latest episodes, updates, tips, and exclusive content. You can find us on LinkedIn, Search Funder, at LMDFrancesco on X, and at Dean Street Law on Instagram. Join us on our next episode where we'll explore more deal-making insights. Cheers and happy deal making.